Tonight, the rush to get in line with the speed camera ban.
It's something top of mind for us as well. Where do we go and how do we move forward?
The region of Waterloo still short on details about its plan for November 14th. A bridge coming down.
It's going to be a little inconvenient for a while, but I think it's going to be great in the long term.
The countdown to a demolition and major work in a busy part of Kitchener.
That's my main concern, the redirection of traffic and delays in getting on and off in the highway.
To pave the way for a highway expansion. A Cambridge encampment cleared out.
This is a repeat of their previous encampment ways that have happened multiple times.
Concerns over the homelessness crisis.
And there's quite literally nowhere for them to go.
As winter approaches. Good evening. There are more questions than answers tonight on how the region of Waterloo is going to implement the province's ban on speed cameras. Well, that ban became law yesterday with cameras set to go offline on November 14th. CTV's Alexandra Hollick looking into this a little bit more for us today, joining us live. Alexandra, do we know what the region has planned?
Not exactly, Tony. The region says it's waiting for staff to review the legislation and report back to council, but it's not clear when that will happen, with a looming deadline just 10 days away.
Time is ticking on taking down Waterloo Region's 27 speed cameras. The province's bill to ban the enforcement method passed its final hurdle yesterday, after months of threats by Premier Doug Ford.
What's unreasonable is a total cash grab, and we know speed cameras do not work.
Now the region is working on a plan to bring them offline.
Right now, staff are reviewing the legislation. They are going to see what the implications are. They will come back to council with the report.
The ban officially takes effect next Friday, November 14th. As for when staff will report back to council,
we don't have a timeline yet.
Questions looming around what the process will look like, how much it will cost, and who will pay.
I would love for the province to say, you know what, the region of Waterloo is getting X millions of dollars, but until there is something definitive, we have no idea where these funds are going to come from.
The province says it will pay for and provide temporary signs to municipalities before November 14th, replacing the cameras with other measures warning drivers to slow down. The plan is to add flashing lights by next September, but not everyone is convinced.
I want to see data that works. That's what I'm looking for. Does that data work to show that bigger signs are going to help slow people down?
Waterloo Regional Police say they're also reviewing the legislation and will step up their road safety efforts.
What does this mean for policing? How do we move ahead for enforcement and education and driving down unsafe behavior on our roadways?
The region says the cameras will be active until the law takes effect next Friday, November 14th, which means drivers can still get ticketed if they're caught going over the speed limit. Tony?
Alexandra, thank you. CTV's Alexandra Hollick reporting. Work to demolish a major bridge in Kitchener will start next month. The Frederick Street Bridge is coming down as part of the plan to build a 4-lane highway from Kitchener to Guelph. Let's go to CTV's Karis Map now, live on location along Frederick Street near the bridge. Karis, a very busy place. I imagine commuters there have some thoughts about this.
That's absolutely right, Tony. And the ones who use this busy street and that bridge just right behind me often say they're not looking forward to the temporary inconvenience, but no, it will likely be worth it in the long run once the Highway 7 project is complete.
Well, it's going to be different. Just hope it's for the best.
Kitchener commuters are preparing for another big construction project. The Frederick Street Bridge will be demolished and rebuilt starting December. In a social media post, Kitchener Councillor Scott Davey announcing the work is scheduled to begin December 6th. A website appearing to provide details on the project's contractor and schedule also indicates demolition will begin December 6th, weather permitting.
I'm not dreading it. It's just going to be an inconvenience.
A little concerned with the weather, potentially, that affecting snow removal.
Removing the bridge allows for the highway underneath to be widened, all part of the provincial government's plan for a 4-lane highway from Kitchener to Guelph.
I've heard about this for years and years and years, and go to Guelph on a regular basis. So using Frederick a lot. So it'll be good to see. It's going to be a little inconvenient for a while, but I think it's going to be great in the long term.
Construction is being coordinated by the Ministry of Transportation, and once the bridge is removed, drivers will need to find an alternative route.
When they've worked on, different roads, you just start avoiding them, and then you kind of get a new route in your head.
Even people who don't use the crossing often say they expect to feel the impact.
That's my main concern, the redirection of traffic and delays in getting on and off in the highway. I'm sure that's going to impact it, and yeah, just impacting my daily commute.
The construction will see a longer bridge built to replace the current one. Frederick Street will also be raised to allow for the construction below. Drivers noticing the preparations with one lane already closed. But commuters say the current frustrations will all be worth it in the long run.
If there truly could be a 2-lane highway to Guelph, that I think would be amazing. The population has grown way too fast and infrastructure has not kept up.
I think it might be safer because when I do go to Guelph, it's a very busy road, and it's just 2 lanes.
The sooner we can get the shovels in the ground, the better for everyone.
We reached out to the Ministry of Transportation for additional details on the project, but didn't get a response. According to the project website, though, it says the new bridge is scheduled to be complete by August 2027. Tony.
Okay, CTV's Karis Map live along a busy Frederick Street over the expressway in Kitchener. Karis, thank you. Okay, time for a first check on the weather. Heading over to Alex Pinto now in studio with the latest. I heard you and Leanne chatting about this at 5. It was nice to see a little bit of sun poke through today. It made it feel just a little less chilly out there.
A little less chilly, and we were kind of joking because if it was summer and 12 degrees, we'd be complaining.
We certainly would.
November, it's not too bad.
Was it 12 today?
12 was our daytime high. We hit that at noon today, so we were supposed to hit 11, so we got an extra degree higher, which was pretty nice to see. But yes, it was quite nice out there with that sunshine. Hopefully you had a chance to get out and enjoy, and hopefully you had a chance to enjoy that beautiful, beautiful sunrise. We have a really nice photo to show you a little bit later on that. But getting into the rest of the evening, overnight hours, we're going to start to see a little bit more of that cloud start to build up, getting into those overnight hours. For us right now, 9 degrees. So we are dropping down ever so slightly here in Kitchener, Waterloo. 7 in Mount Forest, 8 in Barrie. Some other areas, though, still in the double digits. 14 in Sarnia, so definitely above seasonal there, but some more wet weather could be on our way. I'll let you know when, and if we're going to potentially also see some flurries in the forecast. So, Tony, we've got a lot of breakdown a little bit later.
Okay, we'll get those details from you. Thank you, Alex. The homelessness crisis in focus again tonight after crews with heavy machinery moved in today to tear down an encampment in Cambridge. More than a dozen people are now looking for somewhere to stay, which advocates say is no easy task. CTV's Colton Weens reports.
Heavy machinery clearing an encampment on private land in Cambridge Tuesday morning.
Folks are having to leave this space that they've been here for many months, and there's quite literally nowhere for them to go. We don't say that as a figurative line. We've looked everywhere and we can't find any spot for these folks to go in.
According to the City of Cambridge, cleanup is taking place on land privately owned at 201 Beverly Street and on Canadian Pacific Kansas City Police Services rail property. CPKC did not respond to our request for comment, but officers were at the property during the clearing.
There is no shelter capacity available. There is no women's warming shelter, and there's multiple women here, and there just isn't options for people's needs.
City bylaw officers, Waterloo Regional Police, and Rail Police all on scene. Those living here say they've been receiving fines for trespassing and notices for months.
We have a broken system. We are charging people and fining people who are living in such abject poverty that they have no home to live in. The idea of fining people isn't going to change anything.
Personal items for about 15 people living at the site were moved into a U-Haul. The region of Waterloo says it will work with people on a housing plan, but admits spaces for them to stay in can be hard to find.
The emergency shelter and transitional housing kind of system and programs, they do struggle with capacity and occupancy, despite having doubled over the past 5 years. The system is either at or is near or at capacity on a nightly basis.
If we don't have places for people to be, they have to to exist somewhere. I understand people not liking encampments and not wanting to look at them, but the reality is people don't have anywhere to exist.
While the city says the area is being cleaned by the private landowners, Grand River Conservation Authority tells CTV News, in collaboration with the City of Cambridge and police, an encampment on the Guelph Valley lands off Beaverdale Road in Cambridge was also recently removed.
The City of Cambridge is in the midst of an encampment spree. They have been working with multiple other agencies such as Grand River Conservation Authority, or as today, CP Rail and WRPS, to facilitate as many evictions as possible.
All it's going to do is make housed people feel better for a little bit that something has been done, but nothing actually has happened.
Colton Weens, CTV News, Cambridge.
It's budget day in Canada, and Prime Minister Mark Carney's first ever federal budget comes in big. It focuses on driving economic growth, but projects a deficit that's billions of dollars bigger than forecast just a year ago. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver breaks down some of the highlights.
Couldn't be prouder of my finance.
We're ready. Nearly 7 months after getting elected, the Carney government has dropped its first budget, a 406-page book it promises will build Canada strong. Over the next 5 years, Ottawa intends to spend $141 billion in new measures that they project will bring in $51.2 billion in savings. Together, those measures will take Canada's deficit to $78.3 billion this year, dropping to $56.6 billion by 2029-2030.
To weather the storm of uncertainty, we will not lower ourselves, Mr. Speaker. Quite the opposite. We will raise them to catch the winds of economic change.
One of the biggest expenditures, defense, with $81.8 billion in spending over 5 years. There's $20.4 billion for the military's recruitment and retention problems, $10.9 billion for upgrades, and $17.9 billion to expand new military capabilities, including procuring new armored vehicles.
It's a real big injection of money, but really interestingly, they don't provide any annual investment or expenditure total. There's no articulation of where year by year that would take us as a share of GDP.
There's also $51 billion over 10 years for a new Build Community Strong Fund to help fund new infrastructure projects, $1.7 billion for an international talent attraction strategy, and $13 billion over 5 years starting in 2025-2026 for Build Canada Homes. That includes $2.8 billion for Indigenous housing. One way Ottawa is bringing down the deficit through changes to the public service. Ottawa wants to shed 28,000 public sector jobs within the next 3 years through cuts, attrition, and a move to incentivize voluntary leave and early retirement. How much that alone will save and where the cuts are coming from is unclear. Ottawa is also hoping to save $60 billion over 5 years through modernization and government efficiencies.
To balance the budget this year, we'd have to eliminate vital social programs and all the capital investments needed for Canada's future. We chose a different path.
But aside from a promise to review bank fees and to automatically file taxes for lower-income Canadians, experts say there's little that will help with affordability.
I think if you're the average Canadian, you're looking at this budget, you're going to say, well, it doesn't change my life very much. You know, I'm concerned about affordability, I'm concerned about housing costs, and lots of concerns. It doesn't really address any of those things specifically.
Instead, many economists say the budget's aim is to create a better environment for business through measures like a so-called productivity super deduction.
This is a budget that focuses on capital investment because of the context that we are in right now. The economy is quite weak and is under attack because of the tariff issues, and we have a significant uncertainty in the Canadian economy, so businesses are not investing.
For the first time, the budget has been separated into capital investment and operational spending. By 2028-2029, this document anticipates that the operational budget will have a surplus of $1.7 billion. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
And so now the question is, will this budget be enough to convince opposition members to support it, or will it and the government fall? Leaders from some of the other parties offered first reactions following the tabling of that budget.
I can tell you that New Democrats are going to take the time to study this budget. We're going to consult with stakeholders. We're going to talk to Canadians, particularly working Canadians, and review this budget to see if this budget passes our lens of whether it works for working Canadians.
I hardly see how, after having met with our caucus tonight, we could vote in favor of this budget. Those $78 billion of deficit, whatever tricks they want to invent, there's nothing of what we did ask in the budget.
Now is the time to reach out to those of us in opposition parties who could vote for the budget if in negotiations over the next few days we see changes. That's a possibility. It's a real possibility. The vote will be very tight. When we crunch the numbers, it's too close for comfort. And this is the time for a Prime Minister, and I really ask him personally to meet, to sit down and talk and find the changes that could be made to where we could cast our one vote in favor of the budget. But that moment is not now.
And Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has not yet been available for reaction after the tabling of this budget, but the party's House leader says it cannot support the budget as it is now. Earlier this week, the Tories urged the Liberals to cap the deficit at $42 billion this year and accused the government of reckless spending. Sign up for the CTV Kitchener newsletter to stay in the know. The day's top stories, the latest forecast, and some must-see videos right to your inbox. Sign up at ctvnewskitchener.ca. Keeping chickens in your backyard. It is technically not allowed in Cambridge, and some want that to change. Coming up, CTV's Heather Centerin is going to hear from some people who have them as a petition makes the rounds urging the city to change the rules.
Some increasing cloud cover as we get closer to the overnight hours. More on when we could see a little bit of wet weather rolling in tomorrow in your full forecast coming up in just a bit.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvkitchener.ca, your home for news. When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
A major milestone today for the region's light rail system. A committee of regional council has voted overwhelmingly to expand the ION into Cambridge, specifically from Fairway Road in Kitchener right over to Ainsley Street in Galt. CTV's Jeff Pickle now live with more on this. Well, Jeff, this is a story you and I have been covering on the air together for 6 years now. We should note this still has to be ratified at full council, but it was an overwhelming decision, certainly speaking to the political will. What is the next step, though?
Well, Tony, after all those years of drawing up plans, doing an environmental assessment, and creating a business case, the region now has to sell this business case to the province and federal government because the region is really counting on the upper tiers of government to bankroll the actual construction. It was back in June of 2019, the launch of the first LRT train from Fairway Road. Even then, the site's already set on Cambridge. Then regional councillor, now concerned citizen Tom Galloway spoke at the meeting today to support the expansion into Cambridge.
It's all part of the regional growth management strategy. It was all part of the original environmental assessment where we did the entire route right from north to south.
Given multiple options on the route, regional staff recommending the continuation of light rail from Fairway Road to Ainsley Street in Galt. The estimated cost of the project, the most expensive option, $4.3 billion. A majority of others who spoke today at council in favor of Phase 2.
The ION and the GRT have been massive parts of transforming Kitchener from a place that I live to a place that I proudly call home.
The purpose of my delegation is to confirm Cambridge Mill's full support for the proposed light rail transit project to downtown Cambridge.
But not everyone is sold.
I've got a lot of concerns, and I've heard a lot of concerns from residents I've heard over the years.
Adam Cooper is a councillor with the City of Cambridge.
Cambridge really kind of got the short end of the stick originally. I mean, the cost to us so far just to pay for the operations of the Kitchener Waterloo part of this stage one.
He says beyond the price tag, he has concerns over traffic.
And all you have to do is tell the people of Cambridge that 2 lanes of Hespeler Road are going to be removed in order to do this, and the congestion is going to be brutal.
Ultimately, councillors voted in favor 15-1 to support Phase 2. Community Chair Colleen James says the massive price tag is the cost of progress.
One of the sticking points for some is cost. As I explained in my remarks, there is a cost to standing still. And, we invest now for future gain, or we do what's always been done. We keep things status quo.
With the business plan in place, the region now has to get the province and the federal government on board to pay for it.
Sometimes these decisions are fairly political, in the election cycle for the senior levels of government, sometimes it plays a factor. But there are monies available, and they do have to make some decisions.
Now, the lone vote against the LRT expansion into Cambridge came from the mayor of Cambridge, Jan Leggett. The decision will need to be ratified at the next regional council meeting, and then the pitching that plan to the province and the feds begins. Tony?
Okay, Jeff Pickle with that update. Jeff, thank you. An investigation is underway as a number of students and staff fell ill at a Catholic school in Ancaster. Hamilton Public Health released a statement saying in part that they were notified November 3rd of several individuals who developed symptoms of diarrhea and vomiting between October 31st and November 3rd. They went on to say that based on the info available, the illnesses are most consistent with viral gastroenteritis, commonly known as stomach flu. They say they're committed to protecting the health and well-being of the community, and that they've been in contact with the school, working closely with the staff there to support enhanced infection prevention and control measures. They said they couldn't confirm the number of cases because the number of affected people can fluctuate as reports come in from the school. Most cases appear to be mild and consistent with viral gastroenteritis, which typically resolves within a few days without medical treatment. A shortage of prescription painkillers caused by manufacturing disruptions is expected to continue into the new year. Originally, the shortage of drugs containing acetaminophen with oxycodone, including Percocet, was supposed to last until the fall. However, the Canadian Pharmacists Association now says medications with codeine, like Tylenol 3, are back in stock, but supply remains limited for Tylenols 2 and 4. The association says other pain medications are being prescribed as alternatives. All right, a live look outside at the expressway, a very busy expressway in Kitchener tonight from the Frederick Street Bridge. And with the sun setting so much earlier now, yes, it is certainly a good idea to be taking it a little easier out there on the drive home these days, especially with all those construction pylons that are up all along the expressway, northbound and southbound right now. Alex is back with our forecast in a few minutes. Also ahead, putting some muscle into a really worthy cause. The tractor Tug for Tots back in Guelph. How children are going to benefit from this day of fun. And next, redoing recycling. The blue bin changes that you'll need to know about for next year. Alex is here with our forecast on a Tuesday that, well, I was thinking it was just the sun that made it feel milder today, and you were giving us the good news that it actually was a good mild day today. I mean, a decent temperature for the beginning of November.
Yeah, 12 degrees, not too much to complain about, especially when we saw lots of sunshine out there. Depending where you were, though, winds were kind of gusty. It wasn't too bad for us here in Kitchener-Waterloo, a little bit further north, but hopefully you had a chance to enjoy it because we could see a little bit more fun, active weather headed our way.
I was just thinking, I was saying this to our control room last night on the Late Show. Fall seems to happen in two chapters in Ontario. There's the really nice chapter where the leaves are all changing color, you still get those warm breezes blowing in, and then suddenly a switch gets flipped sometime in November, and it's all downhill until winter.
And then we all get surprised when potentially we could see some flurries, which we might. Won't stick around.
We're on the doorstep of that chapter 2.
We are on the doorstep of there. But as we take a live look outside, yes, it is quite dark out there. This hour, that sun setting around 5:10 p.m. now officially. So we are inching closer and closer to that sun going down at 5 o'clock on the dot. But good news if you're an early riser, at least you get to enjoy a little bit more sunshine to start off your day. Something I'm definitely noticing getting up around 6 o'clock or so, which is pretty nice to see. So overall, yes, a beautiful day out there if you're a fan of the sunshine and I guess more mild conditions, above seasonal for today. But getting into the rest of the evening and into your overnight hours, we potentially could see a little bit more cloud cover start to build up. So not too bad in terms of the early evening hours. Getting into the overnight, this is when we could really see that cloud start to move in. And then getting into your Wednesday morning is this system. So a little bit more wet weather. So if you're going to be out and about, maybe grab the rain jacket, the rain boots, and of course the umbrella, because it should stick around for pretty much most of the day. We could get a break or so mid-afternoon before getting into the evening hours, but yes, a little bit of wet weather, and then potentially we could see the very light pink here, some mixing, potentially, again, some flurry activity as we get into your Thursday possibility. So temperature-wise, if you're a little bit more north, Timmins, 5 degrees, 5 in Moose City, 4 degrees right now in Sudbury, so a little bit north, single digits there, getting a little bit closer to us, 11 in Goderich this hour, 6 in Mount Forest, and it is 7 degrees now here in Kitchener-Waterloo. So even just from the top of the hour, we have gone down by 2 degrees already. So getting into the overnight hours, 5 degrees is what our expected low should be. That increase in cloud, and then the winds should be fairly light as we get into after midnight or so. And then tomorrow, 11 degrees is our daytime high, expected high. Cloudy, that chance of showers sticking around, and then we potentially could also be in for a risk of a thunderstorm. Yeah, not too common for November, more so in the afternoon hours for tomorrow. In terms of our daytime highs and lows, so we are definitely sitting above seasonal for this time of year. Record high, 21.5. That was set back on this day in 2015. And it was a chilly one, minus 8.9. That was our overnight record low back on this day in 1951. And yes, that sunrise now just after 7 o'clock in the morning and setting, as we mentioned, 5:10 officially in the afternoon/evening hours. So getting into the next 7 days, yes, chance for a bit of active weather. As we mentioned, risk of a thunderstorm in the afternoon hours before we could see just a slight chance for some active weather for your Thursday, just a 30% chance we're seeing at this point. For Lambton, Kent, and Essex, period of rain expected for tomorrow, high of 16 degrees. So should be quite a warm one for you as well. And then some sunshine expected with a high of 10 for your Thursday. And southern Georgian Bay also going to be potentially a wet one for you tomorrow. Yeah, periods of rain expected tomorrow. 10 degrees expected, though, to drop down to an overnight low of 1. And then at this point for your Thursday, we are seeing about a 40% chance of showers before potentially for many of us, we could see that flurry activity closer to the weekend. All right, here is tonight's Weather Watcher picture. If you were up bright and early, you may have caught a glimpse of this beautiful cotton candy clouds with that sunrise. Jen Paget sending us this beautiful shot today. So this is actually known as a mackerel sky because of its rippled fish scale appearance. And okay, we're going to take you back to science class. So this is usually made up of cirrocumulus or altocumulus clouds. And there was a layer of clouds that actually draped across Waterloo Region around the sunrise hour. So when that sun was coming up, it really did create some beautiful, beautiful colors.
Love it.
Yeah, it's stunning. And many of you, I saw the emails. I was getting so many of these today, and they were all just absolutely so stunning. So we did receive some great ones. But Jen, thank you so much for being tonight's Weather Watcher. And I was on the road pretty early this morning and noticed it as well. It was so bright and just stunning to see.
Gorgeous. It looks like it was. Now, is that the Jen Paget, who is an extended member of our CTV family?
That is correct.
Love it.
Extended family member.
Excellent. Yeah, we look out for each other in the Weather Watcher business. If we see something cool out there, we snap it as well.
We love that.
We love to see them from you too, and thanks, Jen, for that. All right, thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Ontario is moving to a new recycling program next year. It'll mean more bins collected less frequently. CTV's Spencer Turcott breaks down what you need to know.
Big changes are coming to Blue Box collection. Come 2026, a not-for-profit organization, Circular Materials, will be in charge of implementing and overlooking the new provincial system. A first major change starting in January, residents will receive 2 additional blue boxes allowing people to recycle more materials.
Such as toothpaste tubes, coffee cups, black plastic containers, frozen juice containers, and more.
From January to the end of February, Waterloo Region residents will continue with their current Blue Box collection schedule. But starting in March, Blue Box collection will shift to a bi-weekly 4-day-a-week schedule and will be handled by Miller Waste. This will align with the region's new cart-based garbage collection system, rolling out the same month, and the collection schedule will alternate with recycling.
If people find that after they've had the bins for a few months that they don't need the extra bins, they can always bring the bins back to the Miller Waste Yard in Cambridge.
Circular Materials says they have been in contact with municipalities, but discussions about the pending changes at a committee meeting last month had Waterloo Regional councillors confused.
This is a bit of a disaster in many, many respects for the average person trying to sort out what's going on and why it's beneficial to go to a new methodology.
I agree this is rather alarming, and frankly, I fear this is headed to the direction of the end of recycling in Ontario.
Since then, Circular Materials has started its more fulsome communications campaign, including specific details for each community on their website, circularmaterials.ca.
At the end of the day, recycling's still going to be picked up. There's going to be an expanded list of materials available for collection, and we certainly want to work with the region, the individual communities, and residents themselves to make sure that this transition is seamless as possible.
Spencer Turcott, CTV News Kitchener.
Keeping hens at home, the push to change the rules in Cambridge. Heather Centerin will hear from people who are keeping chickens in their backyards and tell us about a push to get the city to officially allow it. The impact of U.S. tariffs is an underlying theme in Ottawa's budget today, and they've also been a major focus of Canada's premiers as questions swirl about Ontario's anti-tariff ad, which scuttled trade talks with the U.S. Now BC is backtracking on its own ad campaign. Let's go to CTV's Scott Hurst for more.
All of Canada's premiers have stood up and pushed back against the economic threats that are coming from the White House, notably saying, of course, that tariffs are not just bad for Canadians, but also bad for Americans and the American economy. Some premiers more forceful than others, some much more public than others. And specifically, we can talk about Ontario Premier Doug Ford spending millions of dollars to run ads in America. Now, as we know, getting under the skin of U.S. President Donald Trump, and in response, canceling trade talks between Washington and Ottawa. And while the ads have now been pulled, Ford is still defiant, doubling down on the successful impact of the ads, as he says, reaching so many Americans. Meanwhile, the Premier of British Columbia says his province has halted plans for a series of anti-tariff ads aimed at American audiences. Premier David Eby arguing the shift in strategy is to align the fight against tariffs with Ottawa, with the feds. BC in particular, greatly impacted by softwood lumber tariffs. Here's more from both the Premier of Ontario and the Premier of British Columbia.
I'd never apologize to Donald Trump. Donald Trump's trying to destroy our province, destroy our country, steal manufacturing jobs and auto sector jobs.
So we've committed to the federal government that when the time comes to be speaking directly to Americans, we'll do it in partnership with them. We will not be running the ads by ourselves. We'll make sure that we're in line with strategy going forward.
Tariffs will also be front and center tomorrow at the U.S. Supreme Court, as it will specifically hear arguments on the fate of Donald Trump's so-called Liberation Day tariffs, which were announced with great fanfare earlier in the spring. Those are baseline duties on a whole host of countries, and the fentanyl-specific tariffs imposed on Canada, as Trump has invoked national emergency powers specifically to combat the flow of fentanyl he claims is flooding across our borders into the U.S. As the Trump administration argues, the tariffs are necessary, but bottom line for the Canadian economy and the industry is forced to pay. Regardless of the decision coming from the Supreme Court, it won't impact all tariffs imposed on this country. The targeted tariffs hammering Canada's steel sector, aluminum, autos, copper, and lumber, those will remain in place. Those are Trump's industry-specific tariffs, as the Trump administration is describing the hearing at the U.S. Supreme Court as a matter of national security. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
And thank you for that, Scott. We're joining Leanne Evans in studio now for a recap of our top stories. Only 10 days until speed cameras are officially banned, and a lot of questions about how the region's going to wind down its own camera program.
Yeah, Tony, the region says it's waiting for staff to review the legislation and report back to council on how it will be handled locally. Questions, of course, looming around what that process will look like, how much it'll cost, and who will pay. The province says it will pay for and provide temporary signs to municipalities before November 14th, replacing the cameras with other measures, warning drivers to slow down. The region says the cameras will be active for the next 10 days, meaning drivers can still get ticketed. Work to demolish a major bridge in Kitchener will start next month. The Frederick Street Bridge is coming down as part of the plan to build a 4-lane highway between Kitchener and Guelph. Some people we spoke with say they're not looking forward to the temporary inconvenience, but know it'll likely be worth it in the long run once the Highway 7 project is complete.
And that is a big highway project. Okay, online tonight from our digital team, Leanne. And you know how much I love Tuesdays.
Oh, yeah.
Some people don't like Mondays. I generally don't like Tuesdays. But
Your
anyway,
favorite day.
Yeah, it is. It's certainly the favorite day for a group of coworkers in Guelph who decided that they would recently go out and buy a lotto ticket.
Yeah, I think your Tuesday luck would be changed if you were a part of these coworkers.
I might like it a little better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They won big with Ontario 49. At first they thought they won $2,000, but hey, it was actually $2 million. You can find out more about their plans for their winnings by scanning the QR code there in the bottom left of your screen, downloading the CTV News app, or going to ctvnewskitchener.ca. From 2,000 to 2 million. That's quite a big jump.
Oh my goodness, and 6 people. So
Six
that's
people.
Like somewhere in the neighborhood of like $320,000 each.
A good bump to your Tuesday.
That would be a very nice bump to Tuesday. Thanks, Leanne.
Thank you.
Well, a long-standing debate in Cambridge is back in focus. A petition is pushing the city to allow backyard chickens. CTV's Heather Senerin spoke with 2 families who are keeping their own flocks in the city and has more.
Hi. Flat Angel says his backyard chickens aren't like regular chickens. They're cool chickens.
Hi, girls.
With names like Lindsay Low Hen and Hennifer Lopez, or Henny from the flock.
If I open the door for them, they'll follow me around the whole backyard. They think I'm their leader or their mom or whatever.
Who wants treats?
There are many benefits to being a hen leader.
I used to get all sorts of bugs. Haven't had a single problem this year. No disease. Our food waste has dropped by 80%.
The Cambridge resident says there's also mental health benefits. These hens have a calming effect.
They do give you a sense of peace and, order.
But in the city of Cambridge, backyard chickens are prohibited. Before Angel got his, he also got a note from his doctor.
My doctor happens to be in Kitchener, where obviously you're allowed to have chickens, so this isn't a problem. A few of his patients already have them, and they were great for anxiety and, like I said, depression.
Up to 4 hens are also allowed in Waterloo and Wilmot Township. Some Cambridge residents are hoping to change that, with the petition making the rounds.
Hence why we got so many petitions from this neighborhood. A lot of them are, my neighbors and my friends. I mean, we could start a little chicken army if we had to.
My wife and my daughter do.
Justin Van Hevel and his daughter are from the Hespeler area. They have their own hens, but not for long.
October 22nd is when I was issued my notice saying you have till the 11th to remove them.
Van Hevel says he got them mainly to have access to cheap eggs.
My egg cost right now is down below $2.50 a dozen.
But he already has plans for them to be moved outside the city, to his daughter's dismay.
They're just so curious and loving.
They'll still visit their hens and hope to have them back one day.
I'm definitely hoping the city changes the rules. I would love to have my chickens back here and be able to pick fresh eggs.
The petition currently has more than 1,500 signatures urging council to reconsider and allow feathered friends back in the backyards of Cambridge residents. We reached out to the city for comment, but did not hear back. Heather Senerin, CTV News, Cambridge.
Christmas is just around the corner in one small town, the tiny community that's getting ready for a massive light show coming up. One southern Ontario community is already getting into the Christmas spirit. Preparations are underway in Formosa for the annual Country Christmas event. CTV's Scott Miller has details.
It's a beautiful fall day, but folks in Formosa are already thinking about Christmas.
This is what we call Formosa Country Christmas in the little town of Formosa. We've been doing this for 5 years, a nonprofit organization, and this is fully volunteer. It's all what we do every year, first weekend in December.
A small army of volunteers will string more than 15,000 Christmas lights on hundreds of Christmas displays around Formosa for the town's Christmas extravaganza. The big attraction is the drive-through Christmas cavalcade through Formosa's Lions Park, complete with giant Santa, snowman, Christmas light tunnel, and even a spot for Santa himself.
The whole town, all the houses, everybody in town has jumped aboard, and they're all decorating their houses. Like, there's what we call dark spots. There's no dark spots in the town. Everybody's jumped right on.
It just keeps getting brighter and better every year.
While it might seem excessive to start setting up Christmas displays in early November, it takes that long to get things looking just right for Formosa's Country Christmas.
We start right after Thanksgiving, first day after Thanksgiving, the Tuesday after we start, and first 2 days is pulling everything out. There's a lot of work the first 2 days, and then basically every day after, whenever you want to show up.
People come from all over Southern Ontario to drive through Formosa's Christmas displays each December. It's by donation, but thousands of dollars has been raised in the 5 years the local committee has been running it. And the previous 20, the event was run by the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority in nearby Hanover.
We do medical clinics, we've done food banks, we've done our own facilities here in town, the recreation complex. So the funding all stays locally.
Most of the displays are handmade and painted by the volunteers putting them up. Busby says it takes 7 weeks to put up all of the displays for Formosa's Country Christmas and 3 more days to take it all down again, but it's always been worth it.
It's for the enjoyment.
It's for everybody.
Right.
If we get something great, if you can't afford it, great. Go and have a look, see how it looks.
Formosa's Country Christmas runs from December 4th until the 7th. In Formosa, Scott Miller, CTV News.
And I'll tell you, I checked out their website. It looks like at night it is an amazing show. Might be one to check out. Over to Alex now.
Well, that cloud cover moving in as we get into the overnight hours. We'll take a look at wake-up weather coming up after the break. Here is your Tuesday night lineup right here on CTV. E-Talk airing at 7 o'clock before The Big Bang Theory. Then at 8, Master Chef Canada before The Traitors Canada. And The Pit is running before CTV National News.
Tonight.
When did you first discover that you had this?
When I was 16 years old.
He spent his entire life suffering in silence.
I had to go grab the coffee, almost third-degree burns on your arm.
Until a chance encounter on the job.
She immediately looked at me and said,
I can fix that.
How this award-winning cameraman got a second shot.
I wonder, what else would I do? What else would I do?
Tonight on CTV National News and at ctvnews.ca.
A girl's dream, a woman's journey, a queen's legacy. Tina, the Tina Turner musical, hits the stage at Center in the Square for 3 performances November 28th and 29th. Enter at ctvkitchener.ca now for your chance to win a pair of tickets.
Okay, we're going to join Leanne Evans one more time for a look at a developing story that we're watching. Leanne.
Well, Tony, Ontario College support staff have overwhelmingly approved a new contract with wage hikes and enhanced severance. The deal reached 3 weeks ago ends a long strike by 10,000 union members. They've ratified a new 3-year contract that includes increases to on-call rates and shift premiums, wage increases, and improvements to job security. We'll have more on what it means for support staff as they return to work tonight at 11:30. Tony.
Okay, Leanne, thank you for that. And Alex is here with wake-up weather. Is it, I guess we are in for some chilly mornings in the days ahead. I don't want to talk about the long range yet, but we're trending a little colder these days in the mornings.
Yeah, first thing in the morning especially. We're noticing a little bit of that chill in the air, and tomorrow, once we get through all that cloud cover expected overnight, around 8 o'clock or so, potentially we could start to see a little bit of wet weather rolling in here. Cloudy with some showers expected right through even until 10. And like we said, for the rest of the day, you might want to hang on to an umbrella tomorrow.
Well, that is a little nasty. But they had some sun today in Guelph for a great event we're going to talk about right now. It's a student-driven community fundraiser, and it is back.
As CTV's Ashley Bacon tells us, the tractor tug for tots was bigger and better than ever.
Set, go!
Tugging,
and pulling.
We try to put our strongest person near the tractor, but you know, we're all strong in our own right. We all collaborate towards it. We just kind of pull and try not to give up.
The Tractor Tug for Tots fundraiser taking over the University of Guelph once more.
This is my third year here at the university and third year participating in this event. Overall, it's a great way to donate to the great charities they have each year and get out and have some fun with our friends and peers here at the University of Guelph.
Teams race by pulling 2 tractors about 74 meters, competing in 3 categories.
So we have the best pull, the most raised for sponsorship, and then we also have the best costume.
And even though it's in its 19th year, organizers say there's a record number of participants taking part.
We have a total of 25 teams pulling this year.
For participants, it's a great opportunity to make an impact on the community.
I think it's so important to give back to our community and even the future generations of students that could be coming to Guelph as well. So just trying to support as much as we can, especially if we have the capacity to do so.
When it comes to strategy,
definitely not a lot of strategy, but if we get a couple bigger guys on the end of that rope, I'm sure we can have a good shot at doing all right today.
Teams collect donations to enter, and it's all for a good cause.
This year we are donating a goal of $15,000 to the charity of the St. Joseph's Health Centre Foundation Guelph to support their Ontario Autism Program.
Ashley Bacon, CTV News, Guelph.
So some good causes, as was just mentioned there. And by the way, we understand that Adams Tender Tuggers, that was the team who won. Best costume went to BBRM Party Animals, and Horses and Hail Marys raised the most amount of money, $500.
These team names, they're so good.
They're good. They're creative.
Good. I was going to say, I saw the costumes there, and I really liked how everyone was coordinating.
It's also a good display of how individual strength added up can be something more.
Yeah, that was one of my questions. How are you doing that? But all for a good cause.
Too much science to get into right now in physics. We'll see you at 11:30. Good night.
Take care.